Hej och välkommen till Penser Bank och vår temadag mjukvara. Jag heter Marcus Almrud och är analytiker här på banken. Idag har jag med XMReality och Andreas Johansson som är Chief Business Development Officer. Welcome, Andreas.
Thank you, and thank you for that introduction. I'm very happy to be here and to present XMReality. I will start off with explaining a little bit about why we're on the market, what we do for our customers, and how we help them. So essentially, what is the product, and continue to explain a little bit about XMReality and where we come from, the market, and also what we've been up to and what we've been doing the last few months. So let's get started, huh? Our company does something that is called remote guidance or remote assistance. It depends on who you talk to. But those are essentially what we do is we help companies solve problems remotely with augmented reality. It is a software as a service solution. So you buy licenses and you can have the video, get your help, and support whoever is out there in the real world from a remote location. So what does this mean for the customer? So essentially we get faster response times. We have customers noting down that we have 30% faster response time, faster resolution to problems, 50% less errors. There is more efficient knowledge transfer. You don't get as many faults when you have something consistent in transferring knowledge as a video and explaining it correctly. You get an optimized resource utilization, so your people, your field service engineers don't have to travel as much. They can actually handle more customers per hour. And of course, there's a decreased environmental impact. The carbon footprint decreases with less travel. And just thinking about the energy costs of today and what's happening in the world, of course, this is going to be increasingly important for companies. Yeah. So what does the product consist of and how does it work? For you who don't know XMReality, try to imagine someone standing in front of a machine or in front of a problem. There may be an engineer, they know how to do most things, but they're generic. They don't know the details of that machine maybe. They need help. And instead of having someone travel from a location far, far away, you're in Sweden, maybe the expert is in London. It's going to take him half a day or a day to get there. We set up a video call to do that, but it's very, very different from a standard video call. A standard video call is focused on your face-to-face communication, right? And this solution is focused on the problem. So we both see the same video, we both see the same problem. And the expert can, from his remote laptop or mobile, if that's the case, in his workplace, wherever he is, even in an airport, help and connect with that person who is located close to the problem and guide them. And we also, of course, have a lot of tools around this to help them guide. So you can, of course, freeze the image and draw on it, explain things while pointing. You can also insert tools. So you can insert a wrench or whatever tool you need to do and show them with your hand what moment and what you're supposed to do. So turn it left, turn it right makes it very easy if it's a noisy environment or even if you have issues, as I have maybe sometimes, to what is left and what is right. Explain that easily to people visually. It comes very natural for us as humans to understand that. Of course, you can take snapshots for the record. And of course, you can share images. So you can share if you have a specification or a schematic that you need to look at that will help you guide whoever's on the other side to solve the problem. Okay, that's the short explanation of the product. There is a lot more to it, but of course, we'll move on and look at a little bit of XMReality. So XMReality, in brief, was founded in 2007. It came out of research from the Swedish military. We started making even smart glasses and, of course, the software that came with that. Went public in 2017 and has now turned into a true SaaS company, so software as a service. We do not sell any smart glasses anymore. We do sell a little bit of support hardware to do the pointing and the illustrations with your hands, right? We call that hands overlay. So a little bit of a tool to do that, basically a web camera on a stick. We have 2 offices. Our headquarters in Linköping here, south of Stockholm, and an office in Dallas, Texas, in the US. We're 42 people today, and about 50% of our resources work with technical development. And to me, that is very important, because when I talk to my customers, they need to know that this is a product that is viable in the future. And to do that, you need to have development. You cannot stand still. This is vital for any software company, I think, to have a product that's also future safe. We have 85% of our sales in 2021 is software subscription, so it's really going in that direction. It's even more this year, I believe. And our gross margin is around 90% in 2021. We have won some awards. Of course, we're proud of that. So we won the Best in Show Augmented Reality Award in 2018. And this spring, we won the Best Repairs and Maintenance Innovation at House in Digital in the UK. So this, I believe, was in January or February this year. And this also shows that we've been active in the UK housing market. And of course, they recognize that. They see this as a good solution for actually helping out in housing, in facilities. So if someone has a problem with a leaking pipe or with a fire door that needs inspection or whatever it may be, and they don't actually have to go there, or at least they can check what it is and get the right tools and the right things and the right person to go there and fix it. Our customers are often after safety and security. They want it to work. They're selling this maybe even, or reselling it to their customers. And of course, we offer what we call branding or white labeling, which means that when you do make a call and send a call link to someone that needs help, their logo will show up. Okay? So it's very vital and very important to them to have what we call service availability. It's basically the uptime of the service. And currently it's still at 100%. This is of course vital for our large customers. And going into the customers, we have some. We're actually very proud to have some very, very large names out there. To date, we have more than 125 customers. We're active in more than 60 countries over the world. So a lot of times, maybe we've signed with a customer that has 180 factories around the world, and they use it basically all around the world. Of course, it's being used in also the gray areas, but that's mostly for calls being made to that area then maybe. Or around that. So these are the countries used, more than 60. And you can see on the right-hand side of the image, of course, some of the large customers that use our products. Most of them are white labeling it, so most of them are actually using it with their logo on the software. Okay? And of course, the market is moving. If you look at the market trends moving forward, they're predicting a lot of growth in this area. And these are just 2 numbers. We looked at the Mordor Intelligence in 2021. They predict more than 56% growth within the cloud-based augmented reality remote collaboration software market. And the Grand View Research predict more than 40% in the overall augmented reality market. So of course, this is very nice to hear, very nice for us. This is where we're operating. We see that the companies need this, and we see that companies will purchase more of this. Looking into that, what do we do to meet that market and find that market? I know we've talked in the past that we're wanting to expand in the US, and this is now done, or it's ongoing, I should say. We have set up a team. We have more than doubled our sales capabilities in the US. And I believe, and we believe, that this is the world's largest market for these kind of systems, and a highly industrialized country, right? We have a new manager in place as of January 2022, Tim Couple. He's the new president in the US. We have also set the company up, so the incorporation, the Inc., as we call it, is set up as a profit and loss unit starting January 2022. And their job now is, of course, to focus on where we're most successful, to start there at least. So they're focusing on the field service market, where there is a high demand for this, obviously. You don't have to travel, you don't have to go there. Of course, this is not the only thing we're doing. As I mentioned, the development is important for us. And since July, or actually in July we launched it, some significant and for us fundamental changes to the product. There's been a lot of things happening sort of under the hood, what we call the back end. So you have a client end where the user sees, the interface the user sees, and you have the back end which actually connects the call, kind of the switchboard if you like. In the end, it's an end-to-end encrypted call. But what we've done is instead of just having the normal call, we've added tools. So we've added the ability to schedule your calls so you can have and step-by-step instructions. So you schedule your call and you can go through an inspection or audit and make sure that you do this with consistency every time. And afterwards, you can produce a document, a PDF, and export the images and export the steps that you've taken and the results from that audit or inspection. And let's look at that a little bit more in detail. So this is the window that comes up when you have the system installed on your screen, right, or on your computer. You still have the same tools as before. So you have all the pointing, you can freeze the image, you can record, and you can save the images, you can show specifications and so on. But the idea here is that the person guiding the inspection or taking care of the audit can help and make this clear so the instruction can be shown at the very top of the screen. You can see that in the window. And go through that step by step, write down what the results were from that step, save the images that you need to save. And once the call is concluded, you push a button and you save the report. And if you've worked in an industrial company, you know that it's important to save those reports because in a few weeks, someone's going to check on it and make sure that you've done what you should for consistency and for compliance, of course. So why do we do this? Looking at the old software, the software that we had in June, it was mainly focused on the ad hoc solutions, the support errands, the maintenance, right? Something happens, you make the call. Intermittent problem resolution, basically. So if you look at the company core process in the industry, and this is sort of a generic process. So going from sell to some kind of definition of a product or design, to the supply chain, getting the tools and things that you need to produce a product, and then in the end supporting it. Now, with the addition of these planned instructions, we're opening up more process areas where we can actually help companies. So for us, that means that we can go into the supply chain, supplier quality. Buy-offs in an industry is important, right? If you want to take it back from China or wherever, you need to make sure that it's really the right stuff and just doesn't break right away. So do that and do that consistently with instructions. We can also go into the production area. Of course, we're there already, but increase that and also go into the training of new staff following these patterns. And just to brag a little bit, of course we have to in this situation, right? Talk to Dodge Industries in the US, and in August 2022, they had tested this, of course, and they're just amazed by it. So they basically said the new product is stellar, saying to us, it's really, really nice, it's really, really good. We basically love it. And of course, we want to quote them on that. If you take the other dimension, so going from the use cases of where we are and what we're used for, and I'm just throwing in some names here of where the product is used, but looking at these use cases, before we were focused more on the troubleshooting and diagnostics, obviously. We were in product training, a little bit of inspection, and commissioning. I know Northern Machinery started up a project to actually get a machine park going in China remotely. So they were basically online the whole time from Sweden doing this. But now we're also opening up a real use, a better use case for the acceptance testing, the audits, the inspections, which we just touched upon in the past. So the market is really opening up. I'm not going to go into all the use cases in the companies. There are many, many examples, and I think the sky is the limit here. Recently, we've seen a lot more interest from inspection companies. We have companies looking at, especially within facility, they need to check that their apartments are okay before a tenant moves in or before you move out, to make sure that everything is there. And you can actually do that remotely. Some tenants don't even want to let you inside to check on your broken fridge or whatever it is. So there are a lot of integrity issues here as well when you're talking to a business to consumer market. We sell it, of course, to customers, but in the end, the consumer uses it. So rounding this off a little bit, just to frame it, why do companies choose XMReality? Well, of course, the base and the foundation is the powerful guiding tools. They need that to help their customers. They need that to help their consumers. But we have really focused, and this is the feedback that I get a lot when I'm around. The software is easy to use, and we put a lot of effort into this. This is really the core. It is hard to make a product very easy to use. It is hard to make a product intuitive. We put a lot of effort into that, and our customers recognize that as well. When you make that call, when you send that call link to someone who doesn't even have the software installed, it will start up and work, and then you need to intuitively understand how that works on your smartphone. And that's very, very important to get it to truly work with the consumer market. You can get started immediately. Actually, you can go online, type in your email address, and you can have a license within minutes. It's very easy to get started. Of course, our enterprise customers want to discuss contracts and sign a contract first. However, they can get started once it's signed within minutes as well and just set everything up. Very easy to use. And the last point, of course, it is enterprise grade. It is made for large companies. The availability is there. The security is there. It is encrypted. It is end-to-end. We make sure that we onboard our customers diligently. They need to have that security as well to make use of it and to feel safe when they're doing an investment. And for them, the investment is not just a software license. It's actually all the training of their staff, changing the way of working. And this might be the difficult challenge for them or the bigger challenge, but it's actually something they need to do. And then if you look at the stock market or investors, shareholders, why still invest? Well, of course you should, but just the message here, what is it? We are set up for growth. I mean, looking at what we're doing, we are growing our customer base. This is clear. It is slowly growing. It is picking up. The US market, XMReality Inc., is set up to really take off. We see the pipe is growing. The augmented reality and remote support market will grow. All the numbers are there. And even though you might have issues with the current crisis going on in Europe and the energy crisis, some of those things you can actually argue the other way that, okay, you need to save money, you need to be more environmentally friendly. Okay, these tools will actually help you. XMReality will help you. And of course, we have, with our product development, increased our addressable market. 2 times, 3 times. You can argue 2 or 3. It's still a lot larger. And we're getting a lot of traction on that. So our vision, it should be like being there. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Super interesting. It seems like XM is on the verge of something. I mean, you're on the brink of something new with coming with a new product, etc. And let's maybe we start there with the new product and dig into it a little bit and maybe expand a little bit on the differences between the first one and the second version, because it's and maybe tying into that how, because you're also moving up the value chain or moving up the chain within the company, going from just the maintenance part up to the core operations. So maybe talk a little bit about the differences.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we've looked at this for some time, and we see that, okay, we're part of the last part of the supply chain or maintenance or whatever. This is not the largest part of a company. That's not their core maybe, but they have to do this because their customers require it. They need to deliver a service. But if you look at the core of the company, they're actually producing. That's where they spend a lot of money. They buy a lot of things. 90% of a company, in some cases, is what they buy. They buy so many things. And of course, you need to make sure that this is correct. And you have a lot of people looking after that. And you install a lot of systems to make sure that that happens. So being part of that process means that you're part of the whole value chain for the end customer. And of course, that makes the whole case for buying the XMReality a lot nicer. You're not just part of a little director of maintenance, but you're actually part of the whole company.
And what are the key features, I mean, that made you or enabled this move?
So first of all, it is a major move for us, rather than just having a simple video service with some lay-on, which is layover, which is complicated in itself. But actually setting this up and making it easy to follow, making it easy to start. So we've set up 25 or 28 different use cases from the start to begin with. You can easily open up that, start your instruction set, go through step by step, even add your own instructions. And really thinking that whole process through to make it easy for a supplier who hasn't worked a lot with this before, do it.
And if you talk about maybe the barriers to entry here or the difficulties in doing this, how difficult is it to do this? That's one. Is it anyone else who's doing this today, or is it a feature which basically doesn't exist and you're just breaking new ground?
Of course, there are people who have instruction and step-by-step instructions, but not in the combination as we see it like this, making it a complete tool. So that's the first thing. The difficulties the companies face and that we might face coming onto companies is I don't think so much as installing the software. That's an easy process. The big process for the companies is actually changing the way they work. And now going through and after the pandemic, this is something that they realize, okay, we actually do need to change. We actually can benefit from this. So we're actually helped by this pandemic. It's sad to say, it's a horrible thing, right? But it changes the way people think. And they realize you can work from home. It's more natural to work from home now than it was 2 years ago. And you can actually do remote inspections in a better way. And looking at the companies ahead, anyone wants to save on money or be more efficient, which is, well, the industry I come from in the past, you really needed to think through. You should come up with ideas to be more efficient every year. This is one of the greater ideas because it's a quick return of investment and easy to use.
And if I look at, I mean, you're now moving, like you showed this chart where you were moving from the bottom end of the value chain, supply chain within the company and moving up, so to speak. But if you look at the new product and you look at feedback, we'll come back to feedback overall, but are you mainly targeting the upper end with this new product, or is there also interest from the maintenance part?
There is a huge interest from the maintenance part, and that might be our way to get into. Yeah, of course. Because when you do maintenance, you also want to make sure that you do it correctly. And we can talk about proactive maintenance, so actually going through a process or a procedure to make sure that the machine is not going to break, rather than looking at it when it's broken. So, of course, there is a huge interest there already. We see, I talked to a company the other day, which is within facility doing inspections. They're very interested and want to promote this internally as well. But I also see that that is just a starting point. A lot of companies see that, okay, you have these other functions. Great, I'm going to talk to my quality guy because he's doing quality audits all the time and they need to travel all over the place. And it's a problem for them. And we're now solving that problem for them.
And if I come to you as a customer, I work at ABB and I'm on the shop floor and I contact you and I want to buy your product. Am I then now buying the new product, or will you sell them in parallel and I can choose?
No. This is all the same product. All these features are available from day one to everyone who has a license.
Okay.
So it's all the same product. It's just additional features that you can use.
Okay.
And all the instructions are also available from the start.
Okay. And if you look at the customer feedback, you've been out seeing a lot of people. This version was released fully in June.
Late June, July.
There around. And you've been visiting a lot of trading fairs, etc., seeing a lot of customers and marketing this product. What is the feedback? And if you look at the existing customers versus new customers, how would you say, is there any difference? How is are the old customers waiting for this product to renew, etc.? So what's the...
As you've seen from the list of customers we have, it's quite spread out. It's quite wide. And the reaction is very different. So some customers, yeah, maintenance, I'm not really into that. Until they actually see that we do these inspections, then the light kind of turns on. It's like, oh, right, I need that. That is a good thing. Okay, talk to me. And we set up a meeting, we set up a demo, we show how it works. Other customers, this is just the start. So we really go from doing maintenance and then come into supplier audits or move up the value chain within the company because they already have an agreement with us. It's easy for them to just grow within the company. So it really depends on the company, how they act and who they are and the active people within that company.
But initially you see this, it's not just... I mean, you actually see the interest and you get feedback and you talk to people already within, I mean, further up in the value chain.
So for me, I get a lot of energy meeting customers, right? I mean, that's my job in the end. But it's really nice to see that light turn on in a customer when they really feel that, oh, wow, this is great. I can actually use this. And these new features definitely help. And we have more customers having that experience when I talk to them.
And well, maybe starting with the market. So you're talking about you have a 2x on the market size, which seems
on where we are today. Yes.
On where we are today, which seems a bit cautious. Is that the right way to express it?
Yeah, we don't want to oversell it, right? I mean, it is a public company. And we want to be honest and truthful with what we think. So yes, they're going to have a lot of licenses here, but it also depends on the company. What do they look like? How much stuff do they buy? Are they more in the production and supply phase, or are they more in the maintenance? There are some companies that only do maintenance. Of course, we're not going to do a lot of licenses in the supply chain there. So it really depends on the company. But if we look at the whole and try to assess our customer base, today we see that it's at least twice the market.
Okay, and just the payment model when I come to you and I buy this product, do I pay a monthly fee? Do I pay per the number of times I use it? So how does it work?
It is a pure license-based software. We don't charge for the number of calls or the links that you send or anything. So it's really a yearly subscription. So 12 months upfront payment, typical software as a service solution. Yes.
Okay. And coming back to the pandemic, so because this is interesting in terms of it's a behavioral change that has happened. And I've seen that across many other companies as well. So maybe describe that a little bit. What happened when you came into March 2020? How did the talk with your customers change? And now that we're getting out of it and hopefully, and you know, people are getting back to the offices, how much of it do you think has stuck? Because it's habits which are changing, right? But they could change back. So how are people thinking? Or how are people discussing when you meet and talk to them?
So first of all, it's hard for me to compare because I wasn't with the company in 2020. I only started 2021. But just looking at my boss, and he's going to hate me for this afterwards probably, but his way of thinking was that you need to be in the office, right? And now this is not possible anymore. You have to allow people to work from home. It is about flexibility. It's the modern way to work. Now, people in maintenance and support, they know this already because, of course, they're all over the place trying to help people out. And doing that remotely is so much more easy for them. You don't have to. You can reduce your travel with 50%. But this really is a change fundamentally in how we work. And I think that's going to strike through in all these other processes as well. I mean, most of us can go to ourselves. Yeah, it's very convenient to work from home. I can be more efficient a lot of times. I can focus on my problems. And this you can do remotely, obviously. So knowing that and having that in the back sort of your head means that you're also looking at solutions to do things remotely at work. And this is what we see. And people are actually looking for this now more actively and trying to assess how can I use it in the best way. So it is opening up. I think the pandemic, speculation now, obviously, but I think the pandemic created a little bit of a burning platform. Oh, we need something to do remotely. We're not even allowed to go there, right? Now they're more thinking about, okay, how can I utilize this in the best way in my processes? So we're more becoming a standard operating procedure. Okay, first you maybe talk on the phone, then you open up an XM call. Then a few steps later, you go and travel.
And would you say it's, first of all, it's different to here because you visit many different regions. First of all, if we talk about it's one thing if you have the workers wanting to work more from home, another thing them being allowed to do that, so to speak. Is this change across the companies usually? And does it differ from region to region?
Oh, that's a difficult question to ask. I think it's very different. I think it's more into the core of the company than the region. So there are companies in Sweden where you say, no, you need to be in the office. And there are companies in Sweden where you say, no, it's okay to work from home. And I think you have that in most countries, actually. But it also depends on what you work with, right? If you have a factory, you can't really bring the machine back home. You have to be there, obviously. But the support can be done, and also a lot of the office work can be done, and the audits and the inspections can be done remotely, obviously.
Let's talk a little bit about US. Because you entered US, but you expanded into the US, and you had a new manager from January. And you've hired a lot of salespeople in the US to try to expand into the region. How is it going? And what is the feedback? How are you progressing? How are you making way?
So they have signed a few deals already. Small one, relatively small one for us at least. But they're growing, and we can see that the pipe is growing. And above all, the interest is there. And I was over actually in Palm Springs on the field service event. Myself to help them out, and we can see there is a huge interest in our product, and then going and seeing these people again the next time and getting reiteration on XMReality is really important. So there's traction coming. There is a huge interest, and it's a big country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sure it is. And I mean, I've been traveling across the US myself, and the distances are vast. So, and if you look at coming back to the picture of the value chain that you had, if you look at the interest right now over there, where is it easiest to target? Is it on the supply part? On the maintenance part, which is also easiest for you to target? So that's where you're going primarily, or is it across as well?
So I think we can go for everything, but of course it's easier to dig where you are, dig where you stand. We've been successful within the maintenance and supply and field service, right? So that's where we're starting off. That's where also they see good examples. So when a big customer wants to come, or even a smaller, they want to see that we have a few customers that are safe and that it's working, right? That's a quality stamp for them to make sure that it works. And that means we believe this is the best place to start. So this is where we're starting. But of course, we see, as I mentioned, Dodge Industries here, they're very, very happy with the step-by-step instructions. So this is going to come into their processes.
And is it mainly, would you say that it's mainly companies who are already customers in Europe and you go to their plants in the US, or are you not talking entirely new, like Dodge is a US incorporated company, for instance?
Yes, we have that, obviously. I mean, you saw some of the big names here, and a lot of them are present all over the world. So obviously they grow in the US as well. A common way of working with these big companies is that you start off, you have like a pilot plant. So you start there, you make sure everything works, and then you kind of transfer that to the next one, set it up over there, and then go through. And eventually you have all your plants up and running with the same process or the same software. And we see that with a lot of our customers, and that also goes for the US. Now, what the team over in the US are doing, they're actually opening up new customers. So customers that we haven't had before, and they're focusing on that a lot. So that's actually going to grow exponentially then once we get that going.
Any special industries or verticals which are?
We're focusing on the field service and manufacturing, so mainly field service over there. That's the first step.
Okay. Well, super interesting. Maybe one last question about product development. You're your chief business development officer, and this is mainly a B2B product. What about the consumer market? Is this something you've thought about? Something you have, which is in the future, or is it something that you will stay away from? And just as an example, I mean, it's as difficult to, I know my heat pump broke. It's very difficult to get a service technician coming. I get cold water at home. No one's happy. I would be happy to use this kind of product.
Yes, and we actually have customers using it for that purpose, right? So energy companies coming and servicing or helping out to solve your problems at your house remotely. Yeah, going back. So I see a few examples where it's used in a business to consumer market, but we are a business to business company. So we have, on the other hand, say a home security company. They work a lot with business to consumer, right? And those companies have a lot of maintenance or support that needs to be done. You may, need to change your battery in your little alarm up somewhere. And this is difficult. You put it the wrong way. You take the wrong battery. You unscrew it wrongly. You put it together wrong. All of that they can do now remotely. So we are in the business to consumer market, but that is more our customers.
Okay. So basically, in my example, would be you sell the product to Nibe, and Nibe uses it to talk to me.
Yeah, and you might have noticed they were on the list.
Yes, I did. Well, anyway, those are my questions. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us. It seems like I said in the beginning, it seems like you are just on the brink of something happening. You have the new product. You are moving up the value chain, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this is going to pan out. The step is new, right? It was released in the summer.
Yep.
So you're traveling around and marketing it right now, and hopefully we'll get some good news during the fall.
I hope so.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.